Alright, so I'm going to go through, because this is going to be a lot easier. So this is what I use on my Arc Hunter. So I'll use Harmonic Siphon. Obviously I'll be using like an Ikilos SMG instead of my Forbearance, but you can use Forbearance too, it's a pretty good gun. Anything Arc. And then I use Melee Kickstart, so that if I ever run out of melee energy, or like for instance I accidentally screwed my dodge up, I can still get cross counter. So what happens is cross counter regenerates health and deals extra damage. You can do that times 3. So what happens is if you melee, dodge, you have combination blow. You melee again, you get combination blow times 3. You dodge, melee again, you get combination blow times, no, I went 2 and then 3, my bad. And then you're doing massive damage with this thing. So you just keep doing that over and over and over again. With Font of Wisdom, you'll be getting your super back pretty quick. I use High Energy Fire, Melee Wellmaker, Well of Ions. So, I mean, you could use Font of Might instead if you'd like, but you won't get your super back as fast without Font of Wisdom, so that's just what I do. So, Wall of Ions, I'll show you here what it does. This is what really makes this build insane. So, Well of Ions, picking up an Arc Elemental Wall causes your next melee to deal increased damage. And if you do Melee Wellmaker, melee pops a well, you get melee damage increased. So you melee again, and you just keep doing it. Each time you kill an enemy with a melee, you're generating a well and doing more arc damage, or more melee damage. It's pretty fantastic, to be honest. There's so many other different mods that you could use too, but with this is what really matters, right? So cross counter regenerates health. You need Liar's Handshake for that. So for instance, you melee, you get cross counter, and then it just regenerates your health, and you keep meleeing. Even in a nice hunk of enemies, you're literally almost invincible. Now it's going to be a little harder to do like this strat on, for instance, anything too crazy, right? So, you know, if it's all spread out enemies, it's probably not your best bet. You do get 10 seconds. You can always run elemental time dilation, so if you stack mods, it'll give you more time. This is what I use. Lethal Current. After dodging, your next melee attack has increased launch range, jolts the target, creates damaging aftershock. It's pretty sick, not gonna lie. Especially with the melee build, right? And then defeating jolt targets make you amplified, so, I mean, you're basically amplified the whole time. So, it's actually pretty sweet. So, what I use is anything, so taking melee damage, I'm going to be in combat, so, you know, right next to enemies, so if they hit me and I melee them, pretty much over. Blinded targets with precision damage, I mean, I really don't use that. Could probably change that. I mean, I could probably use that instead, but that intellect doesn't really matter. So we're actually going to change that Spark of Ions instead of the intellect buff, because, I mean, intellect is pointless. So finishers make you amplified, 10 recovery. I like the boost, it's only for the boost. And then 10 strength. Obviously Sparkle Resistance is a must, so I mean, you're basically invincible. You get Sparkle Resistance, you get cross counter health regeneration, you're almost invincible. It's actually kind of cool. Yeah, that's about it. So, there you go. There's the information on that arc build.